Good morning, class. This is our lesson for today. So I'll be discussing the features or characteristic of journalistic writing in English 4. I will be your teacher, Teacher J.R. Olfindo. So when we say journalistic writing class, it's an important skill that we should acquire or learn. It is the style of writing used to report news stories in newspapers, television broadcasts, on radio, and on the internet. So for today's lesson, I'll be discussing five journalistic characteristic or five journalistic features. So the first one is headlines. The second one is byline. The third one is photos and captions. And the last one is front loading. So let's discuss one by one. So the first one is headlines. So when we say headlines, they are written in bold page headings that summarizes a story, and they includes the following. So the first one is summary of the story in few words. Second one is catch the reader's attention so they are encouraged to read on. And number three, use powerful and emotive language, often humorous or rely on wordplay. And the last important thing that you need to remember, headlines are written in the present tense. So below, you can see on my screen an example of headline that is pointed by an arrow. So you can see Tali sings for Vic. Soto Kid serenade host on his Itbulaga birthday celebration. As you can observe, it is written in bold letters. And the verbs used is written in the present tense. Sings. So, as you can see, written in the present tense. So, let's go to another characteristic of journalistic writing, which is byline. So, byline identifies who wrote the article. So, that's the thing that you remember about byline is the author or the writer of the news. So the author's name, title, what kind of position he or she is, she a sports reporter or crime editor, and of course the details, of course the email address, social media account, the name. So below the headlines that is pointed by an arrow, you can see the example of byline. So the one who wrote the the news is Kathleen A. Liemet, a reporter on PhilippineStar.com. So you can see the date, April 20, 2024 at 6:04 p.m. The another in circle is the Facebook, the Twitter, and the messenger uh, of the reporter or the writer who happens to be Kathleen A. Liemet. So that is an example of byline. So byline means the author and the identity of the writer or the writer of the news. Okay, let's go to number three. Number three includes photos and captions. When we say photos, they are images help to describe the events and illustrate what the reporter is talking about. These photos includes captions that describe the picture and it what relates to. As you can see there the picture of Vic Soto together with his family. And below the picture, you can see the captions, what the reporter is talking about for us to understand fully the news. It says there, Itbulaga celebrates the birthday of Vic Soto on April 20, 2024, episode of the Noontime Show. And the fourth characteristic of journalistic writing is columns. When we say columns, they are paragraphs organized in columns to help the reader follow the story more easily. Columns or bodies of text placed side by side. It's important that the body of the newspaper report includes accurate factual information, direct speech reputation from the experts, expert opinion, and important dates relating to the story. So basically, when we say column, this is the complete details of the news of the story that the writer is talking about. So that is basically the column, the complete story that the writer is talking about. And the last feature of journalistic writing is front loading. Front loading means ensures that all the key information is included as soon as possible so that the readers do not lose interest. The thing that you remember about the front loading is the first paragraph of a news story. It's the point of the story and the major facts straight away. So when we say front loading from the word itself, front first paragraph of the news, first sentence of the news. So front loading ang tawag doon. We can find that in the column. So the first sentence or the first paragraph of the column, we call that front loading. So the first paragraph of a news story is the point of the story and the major facts straight away. So dun nyo makikita yung important details in the first paragraph. Okay? So we have an example here. Manila, Philippines, Big Soto's kids made his birthday celebration special on Saturday as they serenaded him, including a special song number by Dr. Tali to mark his milestone birthday. So you're gonna find the front loading at the first sentence and the first paragraph of the column in the news. Okay? So I hope you understand the five characteristics of journalistic writing. Let's review. The first one is headlines. The second one is byline. The third one is photos and captions. The fourth one is column. And lastly, the front loading. And for our activity for today that you're gonna write in your notebook, and after you answer this activity, kindly submit that to your advisor in your designated GC, okay? For me to check your answer. So, this is the activity. Basically, um, this is the same uh, with the activity that I presented, or with the examples that I presented in my discussion a while ago. So I just want you to identify what kind of features of journalistic writing is being pointed by an arrow in this example. So say for instance in this number one, what do we call that feature of journalistic writing being pointed by the arrow in the number one? And of course in the number two, which we can see the name of the author. Okay? Now let's go to the number three. As we can see picture. So what do we call that? What kind of feature of journalistic is writing is that? And number four, what do we call that description below the picture? Okay. And number five, what do we call the first sentence or the first paragraph in the column? And of course, what do we call those sentences or paragraphs that are encircled, the two encircled on my screen? What do we call that? Okay? So that would be your activity for today. I want you to identify only what kind of journalistic characteristics of journalistic writing is being pointed by an arrow. That's 1 to 6 only. So you just need to write your answer in your notebook, then picture it, and then send it to your advisor for me to be able to check your work for today. Okay? So thank you, and God bless, and stay safe for us today because it's so hot outside. So stay hydrated. This is your teacher JR, your English teacher. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day to all of us.